Hadrat, expression of honor and respect. Ahmet Kuddusi. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi is one of the great Awliya, those loved by Allahu Taala, of Anatolia, Asia Minor. His name is Ahmet bin Haji Ibrahim. He was born on the night of the 11th of the month of Rabi'u al-Awwal in Hijri, year 1183, Miladi year 1769, in the town of Bor in the province of Nigde, Türkiye. His father, a great wali, singular of Awliya, saw 3 moons in a dream. The moon in the middle was larger and brighter than the others. From this dream he understood that he would have 3 sons and that the middle one would be a great wali and alim, Islamic scholar. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi began studying under his father at a young age. He learned the adab, Islamic etiquette, good manners, high morals, decorum, decency, of the aliyya tariqa, ways to, orders of tasawwuf, from his father. Following his father's advice, "My son, always make dhikr, expel unawareness, remembering Allahu Taala. During my lifetime, stay away from malayani, futile, useless activity, wasting of time." He strictly adhered to his father's instructions of the tariqa and worked enthusiastically day and night. He performed all amal, deeds, with ikhlas, sincere piousness, quality, intention, or state of, doing everything only for Allahu Ta'ala's sake. In a short time he advanced through the ranks of being a wali. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi also studied in madrasas, schools of Islamic instruction, for several years to learn the ilm, Islamic knowledge taught at that time. When his father passed away in Miladi year 1786, he went to the Turhal district upon an ilahi, divine, sign. There, he attended the suhbas, companionship of a prophet or wali, talking about their blessed lives or reading their books, of a man known as the Shaykh, title for respected elder head of religious teaching, of Turhal, and reached the degree of kamal, spiritual perfection. Later he left with a friend and went to the city Erzincan. Due to the harsh winter, he stayed there for a few months. When summer came, he left Erzincan and first went to Damascus, then to Egypt. He later traveled to Mecca to perform Hajj, fard pilgrimage to Mecca. During this first Hajj journey, he stayed in seclusion for many days in the fields where Hadrat Hamza and other martyrs of the Battle of Uhud are buried, and in the caves among the rocks of the mountain. He engaged in riyazat to not do the desires of the nafs, a force in people that commands and dominates their desires, wishes and appetite, and is enemyous to Allahu Taala, around Masjid and Nabawi. He attained high ranks by receiving the lutf, kindness, and attention of our Master Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, salatu salam, invoking that Allahu Ta'ala grant all kinds of goodness and superiority on Prophet Muhammed alayhi salam in this world and akhirah. At that time he received a spiritual inspiration. Go to Anatolia, get married there. For you, higher ranks and stations will be attained within the family framework. The following year he performed Hajj again, and then returned to Bor. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi participated in the Ottoman-Russian wars, the first of which was in Miladi, year 1807 and then 1810. Thus, in accordance with the Sunnah, things which Allahu Ta'ala does not clearly command, but which are acts our Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam praised, or which he habitually did or which he did not prohibit, though seeing them done. His seclusion, lonely suffering and riyazat practices that he performed in order to tame his nafs, that is, jihad akbar, greatest jihad against the nafs, would also include jihad qatli, jihad through force made by the state through its army. Hadrat Kuddusi, who stayed in Anatolia for a while, went back to Hijaz. The hardships he endured for a long time in the deserts and mountains between Mecca and Medina in order to purify his nafs and reach purity raised his degree even more. During this time, his daily food was the milk given by a gazelle that came by itself at a certain hour every day. Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi stated in his advice that patience is such a foundation that goodness flows from it. Ta'at, obedience, piousness, and iman, belief in Islam, are built on it. Hadrat Ali radiallahu an, may Allahu Taala be pleased with him, said, "Patience is from iman. The position of patience to iman is the same as the position of the head to the body." Hadrat Luqman Hakim said to his son, "O son, just as gold is tested with fire, a cool, living creatures that worship, humans, malaks, and jinns, is tested with troubles and calamities. The degree of a cool is understood in proportion to their patience with these tests." People of taqwa, protecting oneself from committing haram, stated that patience is divided into two. One is to be patient in order not to commit sins. The second is to be patient in the pain of troubles and calamities and not to moan. Being patient in taking pains while learning ilm and performing ibadah, worship, in accordance with their conditions is also very valuable, and alims have stated that those who are patient in this way will be given 600 degrees in Jannah, paradise. A person with AQL, intellect, wisdom, reason, does not find it difficult to be patient in avoiding things that are haram, which Allahu Taala has forbidden, because the pleasure found in things that are haram are even more present in things that are halal, permissible, and things that have been made mubah, acts, utterances, behaviors that are neither fard nor haram, and which have been declared to be permitted. Despite this, some people are deceived by the appearances of haram, thinking that there is pleasure in them, and by immersing themselves in things that are haram and makruh, things which Allahu Taala and His Prophet Muhammed alayhi salam dislike, and which lessen the rewards of ibadah. They distance themselves from the real pleasure. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allahu Taala said, "If I send musibet, calamity, to a cool of mine, or to their wealth, or to their child, and they are patient about it, out of haya, decency, I will not call them to account on Qiyamah." One of the great alims said, "When a musibet befalls you, whether you are patient or not, Allahu Ta'ala's taqdeer, Allahu Ta'ala's knowing and determining in the eternal past events that will occur, will come true. If you are patient, Allahu Ta'ala's taqdeer comes true, and you will earn thawab, reward to be given in akhirah, as a recompense for the doing and saying of what Allahu Ta'ala likes. If you are not patient, Allahu Ta'ala's taqdeer comes true again. But you will both upset yourself and be deprived of thawab. So always be patient so that you will be profitable in every situation." An anecdote about Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi. A prominent person from that era, who had a high position, asked his relatives during a conversation, "Who is the great wali of our time?" Thereupon, someone who knew Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi said, "The great wali of our time is Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi," and they invited him to Istanbul. When Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi came to Istanbul and went to see them, the people there did not like his countrymen's attire and adopted a patronizing attitude. Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi did not speak at all during the conversation. That person with a high position said, "Master Shaykh, please say something." Hadrat Ahmed Kuddusi said, Sir, I am a person without ilm. I am ashamed to speak in your presence. However, if you order me to do so, I will tell you an incident that happened to me. He told the following story. One day while I was walking along the coast at Saraburnu, a very beautiful woman got on a boat. I followed this beauty who attracted my heart by getting on another boat. Although I never saw this woman again, when she went ashore at the Üsküdar pier and entered the mansion with a large garden on such and such street, I never forgot her. My heart is disturbed by her separation, sir. As soon as that person with authority heard this story, he took all those who were with him outside and said to Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi, Sir, what you told me was an expression of the painful state I am currently living in. Now, I have been relieved of that trouble. That woman has disappeared from my heart. Then he gave Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi unprecedented favors. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi said in his healing suhbas, Hadrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anh said, Fear Allahu Taala by doing the deeds that please Allahu Taala. Obey him by embracing taqwa. In order for a kul to perform ta'at, obedience, to Allahu Ta'ala as mukamil, one who has reached perfection and who is able to make others reach perfection also, one must be free from love of the world and the ties related to the world. As a person moves away from the world, they get closer to Allahu Ta'ala. When one moves away from spiritual impurities, they ascend to Malakut, the realm of Allahu Ta'ala. Hadrat Abdullah bin Mubarak said, The essence of Iman is to confirm all the things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought. The person who confirms them acts according to them. In other words, obeys Allahu Ta'ala. They are saved from eternally burning in Jahannam, hell. Allah has made the world a place to gain the happiness of Akhirah, hereafter. In the journey to Akhirah, the world should be used as a mount. It is stated in a hadith, The world is a beautiful mount. Ride it, it will take you to Akhirah. Everyone who has AQL and are smart enough understands and knows very clearly that the world is a means to gain the happiness of Akhirah, and to make Akhirah flourish. Here, a person who spends their life not in accordance with this real purpose, but to gain prosperity in the world, which is like a resting place for a traveler, will certainly be deprived of the eternal happiness in Akhirah. Another anecdote of Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi. Having stayed in Istanbul for a while, Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi returned to Bor. While he was in Bor, one day the Sultan sent 2 officers to learn about his condition. The officers who came found him digging his garden. Before they could say anything, Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi said, You came from Istanbul. We do not need anything. They said, Our Sultan sent us on a mission. We were assigned to give you an allocation. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi told them, Open your shirts, and poured a shovel of soil into each of their shirts. The 2 officers witnessed that this soil was gold. Then Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi said, Drop what is in your shirts. They immediately dumped it on the ground. This time they witnessed that the soil was snake-like. Ahmet Kuddusi said, My children, even if we do not need our Sultan's allocation, by the generosity of Allahu Ta'ala, leave it to be distributed to the poor and helpless. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi took some of the allocation and distributed the rest to the poor. Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi advised his talaba as follows, Sins cause the naimets, blessings, of Allahu Ta'ala to depart and his gadab, Allahu Ta'ala's wrath, to come. They bring harm and regret. They shame people in this world. They cause adhab, torment, in Akhirah. Those who commit sins are always in fear and discomfort of the heart. They cannot be in security and comfort. A person who does evil is always humiliated. They cannot be honored. They are always criticized. They are not loved. They cannot be saved from being known as a bad person. Uthman bin Affan, radiallahu an, said, "O people, fear Allahu Taala, because taqwa, protecting oneself from committing haram, is ghanima, property taken from the enemy in combat, spoils of war. O intelligent person, those who, for the rida, approval, of Allahu Taala, silence their nafs and do salih, pious, amal, deeds, for what comes after death, will have Allahu Taala's nur, radiance, brighten the darkness in their qabr, grave." Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi, out of necessity, in his poems, letters, and other writings, repeatedly draws attention to the dangers on the path of truth and repeatedly describes the conditions and halls, states, of those that are sadiq, trustworthy, and of those that are deviant on this path. He advised to not approach ahl al-dunya, those engrossed in the wood, the mulhid, person that makes statements that cause kufr, unbelief, but sincerely believe, the melf, to be Muslim, and kafirs, unbelievers, to avoid those that are jahil, ignorant, and those that are inad, obstinate, dervishes, students of tasawwuf, that is purifying of the heart, spiritual development. To strongly avoid the al-kufr and the munafiqs, hypocrites, those who hide their kufr in order to mislead Muslims. To stay away from the people of hasad, covetous, severe jealousy, grudgeful, wanting somebody to be deprived of having blessings. Kin, hatred, istisa, the mock or ridicule, and namima, carrying words among Muslims with the purpose of causing enmity, which is haram, and the people of ghibat, backbiting, gossip, and not to be with them. Ahmed Kuddusi repeats in all his works that after knowing the ilm that are fard, wajib, and sunnah, one must act in accordance with this ilm. One should continue to remember Allahu Taala by acting in accordance with their ilm. Death. He died in Bor in Hijri, month Jumada al-Thani, in 1265, Miladi year 1849. According to his Vasiyetnam, he was buried in the old cemetery. On the same day when a villager came to Bor to have his broken plowshare repaired, he saw a large crowd preparing for the Salat al-Janaza, so he refreshed his wudu, ablution, and performed the Salat al-Janaza. Intending to return to work immediately, he went to a nearby blacksmith shop and gave the plowshare to the master for repair. When the blacksmith saw that the iron he had put in the furnace did not turn red and could not be hammered, despite working it for hours, he was lost in thought and astonishment. At this moment, a close acquaintance entered the shop. The blacksmith told him the situation. He asked the villager, "Where are you from? Where did you bring this iron from?" The villager said, "I am from such and such a village. This iron broke on a rock while I was plowing yesterday. I brought it here today to have it repaired. When I entered the city, I joined a jamaat like I had never seen before, then came straight to this shop after performing Salat al-Janaza." The blacksmith said, "The great wali, one loved by Allahu Taala, whose Salat al-Janaza you participated in without asking his name, was the great Awliya, lover of Allahu Taala, Hadrat Shaykh Ahmet Kuddusi. Allahu Taala not only protected those who performed his Salat al-Janazah from fire, but also the tools and equipment that were present at that Janazah. This villager, who had Iman, bought a new plow and returned to his village. In recent years, upon a general decision to move cemeteries outside the city, the Qabr of Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi was moved to its new location in the cemetery, which is a place of pilgrimage today. Although the public objected during this transfer, the district governor of the period, the mayor, and the commander of the military police intervened in the incident and said some unpleasant words toward the Qabr of Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi and behaved in an inappropriate manner. They were all subjected to this troublesome situation. When no one agreed to destroy the Qabr Sharif, honorable grave, prisoners were brought to destroy the Qabr. At that moment, the commander of the military police, who had kicked the headstone and gave the order to dig, fell to the ground and died while shouting, "Save me!" When they opened the Qabr, they saw that the shroud of Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi was completely white. At that moment, a very pleasant scent spread from the Qabr to the surroundings. The weather was very hot that day, and the sky suddenly became cloudy and rainy, causing coolness and relief. The body of Hadrat Ahmet Kuddusi was wrapped in a new shroud and transferred to his present Qabr. May Allahu Taala grant us all their shafa, intercession. Ameen.